The alien fleet drifted silently through the void, their sleek ships glinting faintly against the backdrop of distant stars. Commander Giles surveyed the formation from the bridge of the flagship Viral's Pride, confidence radiating through the bridge crew. Humanity, he thought, would be easy to negotiate with. Primitive sensors, outdated technology, and minimal military presence, nothing suggested a serious threat. "They'll greet us as expected," Giles murmured. But the readings were odd. Energy signatures flickered and disappeared as if the sensors themselves were deceived. Faint anomalies rippled across the scanners, vanishing before anyone could pinpoint their source. "Probably sensor glitches," the science officer said, though his voice betrayed unease. Still, the aliens pressed onward, expecting a peaceful first contact. And, on the surface, the humans did not disappoint. Hollow communications activated, projecting calm, measured faces. Their words were polite, diplomatic, almost disarmingly casual. "Welcome to human space," said the voice, smooth but with an undercurrent of authority that set Giles slightly on edge. "We trust your journey was uneventful." The aliens exchanged glances. Smooth diplomacy, yes, but there was something beneath the surface, subtle and unsettling. Commander Giles dismissed it as overconfidence, a minor quirk of a young species. Yet he could not shake the feeling that they were being watched, not through sensors, but through some intangible awareness that humans seemed to possess naturally. Beneath the calm, human warships remained unseen, perfectly still, and perfectly hidden. Cloaked in advanced stealth technology, they hovered on the fringes of the alien formation, invisible even to the most advanced alien sensors. Small probe drones hummed silently in orbit around Earth, carefully observing alien movements without being detected. Every maneuver, every communication was recorded, analyzed, catalogued. It was a display of patience and discipline, a test more than anything else. The humans allowed the aliens to believe they were in control, to believe they understood the balance of power. Every ship in the alien fleet was under constant observation, every step tracked. No attack had been launched, no warning given, and yet humanity's shadow lingered, heavy and unyielding, like a storm waiting beyond the horizon. Commander Giles relaxed too soon, sipping a synthetic beverage as he gestured for the aliens to continue. "We will proceed to formal greetings at the assembly station," he announced, pride in his own foresight. "They will welcome us, then we negotiate terms. This is routine." And somewhere, beyond the veil of human stealth, the first Dreadnought waited, silent, cloaked, and ready. When the humans chose to act, it would not be a gentle warning, it would be a revelation. And the galaxy would see them as they truly were, patient, precise, and far more formidable than anyone dared imagine. The alien first contact seemed calm, but the storm had already begun. The alien assembly station floated in orbit around a quiet, blue-green world, its metallic spires glinting under the light of a distant sun. Inside, alien envoys prepared for formal greetings, exchanging nervous chatter that hinted at both excitement and apprehension. After centuries of interstellar exploration, few had anticipated encountering a species so seemingly young, yet calm and measured. The humans appeared on the holocom screens with impeccable composure. Their faces were serene, voices smooth, carefully measured. "We are honored by your presence," the human diplomat began, bowing slightly in gesture, though the alien translation system struggled to convey the subtle nuance of the movement. "They are civilized," one of Giles' lieutenants murmured, a note of relief creeping into her voice. "No primitive aggression, no threats." But humans, as always, gave only what they wanted to be seen. Behind the veil of diplomacy, the human fleet remained invisible and vigilant. Sensors tracked every alien ship, recording engine vibrations, shield fluctuations, even minor weapons system adjustments. Every move the aliens made was catalogued, analyzed, and counter-analyzed in real time.
Humans were not here merely to greet. They were here to observe, to learn, and to assert dominance quietly before it was necessary to act. A small alien drone approached the outer edge of the human fleet, curious about the subtle energy readings that had puzzled their scanners for hours. It hovered, scanning, probing for weak points, entirely unaware of the hundreds of human sensors shadowing it, cloaked and undetectable. Within moments, the drone's systems were subtly interfered with, communications rerouted without damage, a silent warning the aliens could not yet interpret. Back on the assembly station, the aliens continued to chatter among themselves. "They are polite, but something feels off," Giles admitted, a frown creasing his brow. The diplomat on screen smiled, casually mentioning the humans' long history of spacefaring and technological ingenuity. Small hints, almost innocuous, but enough to make the aliens pause. Humans were patient, calculating. They allowed the aliens to believe they were in control of the narrative, all while demonstrating in subtle ways that nothing was hidden from them. Every step of the alien fleet, every calculation, every hesitation was observed and understood. The humans' diplomacy was a facade, but one that conveyed power without aggression. A quiet mastery that unnerved even the most confident alien commanders. As the first formal negotiations began, the humans leaned forward slightly, their words calm, yet weighted with intent. "We value peaceful coexistence, but we do not compromise our security. We expect mutual respect." The aliens nodded, believing themselves in control, unaware that every subtle glance, every gesture, every word from the humans had already set the stage for a revelation none of them would ever forget. Patience, discipline, and quiet dominance. The humans had already won the first move in a game the aliens had only just begun to understand. And somewhere, just beyond sight, the human dreadnought waited, silent, cloaked, and ready. When the humans chose to act, the illusion of calm would shatter.
Beyond the shimmering holocom screens, the human fleet remained invisible, an unseen shadow lurking at the edge of alien perception. While the diplomatic exchange proceeded, human sensors monitored every flicker of alien activity, tracking even the smallest adjustments to shields, engines, and weapon systems. Nothing escaped their notice, and every observation was catalogued with precision. Commander Zhao leaned back in his chair, convinced the humans were merely cautious and polite. "They are civilized, disciplined, but weak," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. The lieutenants nodded in agreement, eyes flicking over sensor readouts that seemed normal enough. Yet something nagged at Zal, a subtle inconsistency in energy signatures, a brief shimmer that disappeared too quickly to measure. Then came the drones. Small, nimble reconnaissance craft darted forward, probing the outskirts of human space. At first, the aliens assumed they were gathering standard intelligence, unaware that the humans had already anticipated each move. Human sensors detected the drones the instant they crossed the invisible boundary of stealth detection. Instead of firing, the humans manipulated the drones with silent precision. Communications were subtly intercepted, redirected, and altered. A minor course adjustment here, a rerouted data stream there, nothing destructive, nothing threatening, yet the drones began behaving in ways the aliens had not intended, as if the humans were reading their thoughts. A young alien engineer frowned at the screen. "Our drones, they're responding oddly. Communications are scrambled, but without interference. How is this possible?" Zal waved it off. "Minor system anomalies. Focus on the assembly protocols. Humans are limited. This is irrelevant." But the anomaly persisted. Every drone that approached human space was subtly manipulated, never harmed,
yet completely under human control. A growing sense of unease spread through the alien command. The aliens had expected weakness, but now they sensed something far more dangerous: deliberate, calculated superiority hidden beneath calm, polite facades. The humans themselves remained serene. On the holocom screens, they smiled, gestured politely, and spoke with measured tones. There was no hint of threat, no display of power, yet the aliens could feel it, a weight in their presence that suggested invisible strength. As the aliens debated among themselves, the human dreadnought lurked just beyond the edge of sensors, engines humming faintly beneath layers of cloaking technology. It waited, patient and silent, a storm gathering on the horizon. Every observation, every analysis by the aliens had already been anticipated and recorded. Patience, discipline, and intelligence, these were the humans' weapons, and the aliens were only beginning to realize it. The calm first contact, so carefully maintained, was not ignorance or weakness, it was strategy. The humans allowed the aliens to underestimate them, to grow complacent, and to believe they were in control. And yet the true measure of human power waited in silence. When it revealed itself, the galaxy would not just be surprised, it would tremble. For now, the aliens remained oblivious, watching what they thought was a simple, polite species. But the humans were watching them too, and the game had only just begun. The alien fleet grew bolder. Emboldened by the humans' apparent calm, they sent several reconnaissance squadrons closer to the inner edge of human-controlled space. Sleek, needle-like ships darted forward, sensors probing, shields flickering, weapon systems calibrated in case of sudden resistance. On the bridge of the human command ship Sentinel of Dawn, Commander Arya Chen monitored the intruders. Her calm demeanor belied the intensity of her focus. "They're pushing boundaries," she said, her fingers dancing across the control interface. "Prepare countermeasures. Minimal display, let them feel unease, but do not escalate yet." The human fleet had anticipated this. Cloaked vessels adjusted their positions subtly, slipping between sensor grids, perfectly timed to appear just out of reach of alien sensors. Alien drones received carefully controlled electronic interference, nothing harmful, only minor disruptions that suggested hidden power. Communications were rerouted, trajectories slightly altered. To the aliens, it appeared as a quirk of space, a minor anomaly. But each interference was precise, deliberate, enough to leave unease behind. Back on the alien flagship, Zal frowned at the data. "These disruptions, they are too coordinated to be random." He gestured to a technician. "Increase sensor resolution. Trace the source. I want to know what we're dealing with." The technician's face paled. "Commander, there's nothing. Sensors show empty space. No energy readings, no ships in the area?" Zal's unease grew. "Prepare warning signals. Keep them informed. I want them to know we are aware." The humans anticipated this, too. A soft, deliberate hum radiated from the hidden fleet. Subtle energy fields shimmering faintly on sensors, enough to suggest presence without revealing full capabilities. Alien crews felt it, a ripple of uncertainty. Nothing attacked, nothing threatened, but every instinct screamed that the humans were far from ordinary. At the assembly station, diplomatic exchanges continued. Humans spoke of peace, cooperation, and shared exploration. Their faces smiled calmly on holocom screens. But beneath that calm, every word, every gesture carried weight. the aliens began to notice a strange duality. The humans appeared harmless, yet their control over the surrounding space suggested power far beyond what they admitted. A scout ship that attempted to probe a cloaked human vessel suddenly lost all communication for several moments, then returned to formation as if nothing had happened. Alien engineers scrambled to explain the anomaly, but no explanation sufficed. Each small disruption, each subtle provocation chipped away at the aliens' confidence. Commander Arya watched quietly as the alien reactions unfolded. "Patience," she murmured. "They believe they are testing us. Let them feel their assumptions crumble." Every alien move was recorded, every hesitation noted. Humans were not only defending, they were teaching the aliens that calm did not equal weakness, that restraint could be strategic, and that underestimating humanity was a mistake that could prove catastrophic. And somewhere, cloaked beyond all detection, the human dreadnought waited, silent and patient, ready to reveal the true measure of human power. The storm was gathering. The first contact's calm facade was about to shatter.
The alien fleet had grown bold, their confidence swelling with each subtle anomaly the humans allowed them to perceive. Commander Zale leaned forward, eyes narrowed on the sensor readouts. "They're withholding their full strength," he admitted, voice tight. "But this is a minor species. We will press onward." He was wrong. Without warning, the void before the alien formation shimmered as if reality itself were bending. Sensors blinked, alarms rang, and then silence. Every alien system froze. Where there had been empty space, now loomed a single massive vessel, the human Dreadnought. Its sleek, angular hull reflected starlight like a jagged crystal, and even cloaked vessels could not mask its overwhelming presence. The Dreadnought had decloaked. On the bridge of Viral's Pride, shock rippled through the crew. "Impossible," muttered a technician, voice trembling. "Our sensors, it shouldn't be visible." The human Dreadnought's engines glowed faintly, radiating power that the aliens could feel in their bones. Weapons arrays extended subtly, precise and deadly. This was not a display of hostility yet, but it was a warning, calculated, unyielding, and undeniable. The alien fleet scattered slightly, shields flaring as panic spread. Commander Zale banged his fist on the console. "All ships, defensive formations, prepare to engage!" Even as the aliens scrabbled, the human Dreadnought fired. Not a single shot struck a living crew, not a ship was destroyed, but each projectile landed with pinpoint accuracy, disabling shields, halting engines, and rendering drones helpless. The aliens' confidence shattered with every calculated strike. They had thought they faced a polite, cautious species. Instead, they had stumbled into the patience and precision of humanity. Commander Arya Chen watched from the Dreadnought's bridge, calm and composed. "She's learned to overestimate herself," she said quietly. "Let them feel it." Alien ships attempted counterattacks, weapons flaring and energy beams cutting through the void, but the human Dreadnought's advanced countermeasures neutralized every threat. Their attacks bounced harmlessly off phased shields, systems jammed by precise electronic interference. The alien commanders realized, with growing horror, that humans had anticipated every conceivable maneuver, every defensive tactic, before they even conceived it. The message was clear. Humanity was no longer a minor player. Their patience had been deliberate, their restraint strategic. The Dreadnought's reveal was not just power, it was a statement. And yet, there was no massacre, no destruction. The humans demonstrated control, dominance without cruelty. It was a subtle, terrifying power. The ability to destroy, yet the choice not to. The aliens reeled, respect and fear mingling in their hearts. Commander Zale's voice cracked over the comms.
We underestimated them. He looked at the crew, pale-faced. We have no idea what they're truly capable of. The human dreadnought remained poised, silent, and immovable, its systems humming with restrained might. Humanity had shattered the illusion of calm, and in doing so, had earned the galaxy's attention and its fear. The first contact was no longer a diplomatic exercise. It had become a revelation. The storm had arrived. The alien fleet reeled under the sudden, undeniable presence of the human dreadnought. Alarms blared, shields flared, and even the most experienced commanders felt a chill run through their circuits. The massive vessel dominated the void like a silent predator. Its angular hull reflected starlight like a jagged crystal, and even cloaked vessels could not mask its overwhelming presence. The dreadnought had not fired again, at least not lethally. Commander Area Chen watched the alien reactions calmly from her bridge, fingers poised over the control interface. Every movement of the aliens was anticipated. Every defensive measure, every attempted strike had already been mapped, recorded, and neutralized with surgical precision. Humanity's strength was unmistakable, but so was its restraint. The dreadnought fired again, but only at non-essential systems. Shield generators fizzled and sparks danced along hulls. Engines sputtered. Communications arrays went dark. No life was harmed, but the message was unmistakable. Any aggression would be met with overwhelming force. The aliens' earlier confidence crumbled under the weight of reality. In the alien flagship Viral's Pride, Commander Zale's hands shook as he reviewed the sensor feeds. We miscalculated, he admitted, voice trembling. They were never the primitive species we thought. They've already outmaneuvered every tactic we attempted. They controlled the battlefield without even moving. The human dreadnought held its position, engines idling, weapons primed but restrained. Every alien ship that attempted to regroup found itself subtly redirected, trapped in invisible corridors of human control. It was strategy, perfected through patience, a show of absolute dominance without unnecessary destruction. A young alien officer whispered in disbelief, They could destroy us all in minutes, and yet they choose not to." Aria's eyes scanned the fleet. "Correct," she said softly. "Respect is earned. Fear is instilled, but we do not kill without purpose. Let them learn this lesson before they overstep again." As the aliens processed the demonstration, their fleet began to scatter cautiously. Every commander was forced to acknowledge an uncomfortable truth. Humans were a force far beyond mere diplomacy, far beyond their initial estimates. They had underestimated not just technology, but patience, discipline, and strategic genius. Back on the Dreadnought, subtle adjustments ensured the aliens could see the humans' restraint. No lives were lost, no colonies were threatened, yet every ship, every maneuver, every controlled display of power communicated one undeniable fact: humanity was capable of absolute dominance if provoked. Across the alien bridge, Zale finally spoke, voice tight with reluctant admiration. "They are incredible. We have misjudged them at every turn. Their patience, their precision, it is unlike anything we have encountered." The humans, silent and calm, allowed the aliens to recognize the truth themselves. The Dreadnought slowly rotated, engines dimming slightly, presenting an image of quiet inevitability. Humanity had shattered the illusion of calm, and in doing so, had established the rules of engagement for the galaxy. For the first time, the aliens felt awe mixed with fear, and for the humans, it was exactly the lesson they intended. The galaxy had seen only a fraction of their might, and even that fraction commanded respect.
The alien fleet hovered in uneasy silence, their once confident formation now fractured and hesitant. Commander Zahil rubbed his temples, eyes fixed on the glowing silhouette of the human dreadnought. Its mere presence radiated authority, an unspoken demand for recognition. It had shattered the aliens' assumptions, exposing the limits of their knowledge and the fragility of their confidence. "Maintain position," Arya Chen commanded calmly from the Dreadnought's bridge. "No further attacks. Let them understand what they face." Her words were serene, yet carried the weight of absolute authority. Every sensor in the fleet was watching, recording, calculating. Humans had no need for unnecessary destruction. Demonstrating restraint was in itself a lesson. Slowly, alien emissaries initiated cautious communication. We acknowledge your capabilities," a voice crackled through the comm channels, tremulous but respectful. "We misjudged your species. Perhaps dialogue is the better path forward." Arya inclined her head slightly. "Dialogue is always welcome. Mutual respect is the foundation of lasting relations. But understand this, any hostile action against human space will be met with decisive retaliation. We do not make idle threats." The aliens hesitated, the weight of the humans' demonstration settling in. They had expected diplomacy to be a simple exercise, a polite negotiation with a weaker species. Instead, they were confronted with discipline, strategy, and patience that surpassed anything in known space. Humanity had proven that strength and restraint could coexist, and that underestimating them was a grave error. Across the alien fleet, commanders began issuing new orders. Shields were lowered slightly, engines throttled back. Communication networks were restored cautiously, signaling a tentative willingness to cooperate. It was an admission. Humanity was no ordinary species, and respect was no longer optional. Arya allowed a small, controlled smile to cross her face. "We can work together," she said into the holocom. "Trade, exploration, shared knowledge, these are possible if approached with mutual understanding. But remember, strength alone is meaningless without discipline. Humanity has both, and we expect the same from any allies." Zahil exhaled heavily, realizing the truth he had been avoiding. The humans had not merely defended, they had educated. Every calculated maneuver, every measured display of power, had forced the aliens to confront their own hubris. They had learned respect the hard way, but respect was all the humans required. The tension in the fleet began to ease, replaced by cautious optimism. Alien crews watched their sensors, still wary, still curious, but the fear that had gripped them moments ago had evolved into admiration. Humanity had earned it. Even as communication channels reopened fully, Arya maintained a vigilant watch. The Dreadnought's presence was not just a warning, it was a promise. Peace was possible, but it existed only on terms defined by human principles: patience, discipline, and the uncompromising assertion of capability. For the first time in this encounter, the aliens truly saw humanity, not as a young, naive species, but as a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy was learning to respect humans, and that respect had been hard-earned through precision, patience, and the quiet brilliance of controlled power. The first contact, once calm, had transformed. What began as diplomacy had become a lesson in humility. Humanity had made its presence known, not through aggression, but through the undeniable mastery of both restraint and strength. The alien fleet hovered in uneasy silence, their once confident formation now fractured and hesitant. Commander Zahil rubbed his temples, eyes fixed on the glowing silhouette of the human dreadnought. Its mere presence radiated authority, an unspoken demand for recognition. It had shattered the aliens' assumptions, exposing the limits of their knowledge and the fragility of their confidence. "Maintain position," Arya Chen commanded calmly from the Dreadnought's bridge.
No further attacks. Let them understand what they face. Her words were serene, yet carried the weight of absolute authority. Every sensor in the fleet was watching, recording, calculating. Humans had no need for unnecessary destruction. Demonstrating restraint was, in itself, a lesson. Slowly, alien emissaries initiated cautious communication. We acknowledge your capabilities," a voice crackled through the comm channels, tremulous but respectful. "We misjudged your species. Perhaps dialogue is the better path forward." Arya inclined her head slightly. "Dialogue is always welcome. Mutual respect is the foundation of lasting relations. But understand this, any hostile action against human space will be met with decisive retaliation. We do not make idle threats." The aliens hesitated, the weight of the humans' demonstrations settling in. They had expected diplomacy to be a simple exercise, a polite negotiation with a weaker species. Instead, they were confronted with discipline, strategy, and patience that surpassed anything in known space. Humanity had proven that strength and restraint could coexist, and that underestimating them was a grave error. Across the alien fleet, commanders began issuing new orders. Shields were lowered slightly, engines throttled back. Communication networks were restored cautiously, signaling a tentative willingness to cooperate. It was an admission. Humanity was no ordinary species, and respect was no longer optional. Arya allowed a small, controlled smile to cross her face. "We can work together," she said into the holocom. "Trade, exploration, shared knowledge. These are possible if approached with mutual understanding. But remember, strength alone is meaningless without discipline. Humanity has both, and we expect the same from any allies." Zale exhaled heavily, realizing the truth he had been avoiding. The humans had not merely defended, they had educated. Every calculated maneuver, every measured display of power had forced the aliens to confront their own hubris. They had learned respect the hard way, but respect was all the humans required. The tension in the fleet began to ease, replaced by cautious optimism. Alien crews watched their sensors, still wary, still curious, but the fear that had gripped them moments ago had evolved into admiration. Humanity had earned it. Even as communication channels reopened fully, Arya maintained a vigilant watch. The Dreadnought's presence was not just a warning, it was a promise. Peace was possible, but it existed only on terms defined by human principles: patience, discipline, and the uncompromising assertion of capability. For the first time in this encounter, the aliens truly saw humanity. Not as a young, naive species, but as a force to be reckoned with. The galaxy was learning to respect humans, and that respect had been hard-earned through precision, patience, and the quiet brilliance of controlled power.